Hey there, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy lunchtime on the East Coast. Happy almost lunchtime in the Central Time Zone, Mountain and Pacific. They're just waking up and having breakfast. So, hope everybody's doing great. My name is Michael Goldberg. Welcome to the LinkedIn Live Lunch Hour. And I'm here with probably one of my favorite people of all time. She's a coach, she's a friend, she is the amazingly talented LinkedIn content creator herself, Miss Judi Fox. Welcome to the show.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. Am I, it says for some reason, it says I'm muted to prevent echo. So does that mean?
No, you can be heard. You're
Okay,
muted
good.
to, yes.
Okay.
You would hear the echo in your ear.
Got it. Okay.
And because I had to deal with that, and it was
Yes.
it was crazy. So
Well, I am glad to be here, and thank you so much for those kind words.
oh well, no, it's the darn truth. So I'm just if you don't mind here, just give me 1 minute. I'm going to open up my LinkedIn and make sure we are all, yes, you are there and present. Very
all
nice.
Right. Drop a Fox emoji in the comments. I love
Fox emojis. Fox
and people
rocks.
ask me all the time, how do you do emojis on LinkedIn in the comments? Because some people don't realize you can right click on your mouse and at the very top it says emoji, and you can add in your emoji right there.
Yes, it's super, super easy. So, Judi, for those of you who don't know me, which maybe be about 2 or 3 people, can you tell the audience about yourself, who you are, and how you kind of ended up going into this line of work that you do for so many people?
Yeah, so my degree is in chemical engineering, and I got started in my career in 1999. And so I went through both kind of economic recessions, the dot-com 2000 time period, where I was just starting my career. So I didn't really, I noticed it and I saw it happening, but I was too early in my career to really kind of wrap my head around what really happened for people. And then the next one was the 2008 housing bubble and housing crisis that happened. So I was working in the construction industry. And that's when I really, really leaned into LinkedIn, because I did lose my job at that time. And I'd been working for almost 10 years at that point, and needed to figure out and realized that the only way I was going to get a job in a major recession was to network to my next opportunity and not wait for it to be posted as a job board anywhere, because then I was going to be competing against how many thousands of people going to apply online, and you're just a number. So the only way to be more than just a number is to get to know all the hiring managers, all the people in the chain of command that are going to be making all these decisions, and get ahead of the job even being open and available.
And so when were you going to go into recruiting? I'm just kidding.
But then I turned it into, I kept thinking I can help other people, because I was able to figure it out and do it myself and do it through LinkedIn. So the moment that LinkedIn made it available to do video on LinkedIn and make your own content as a creator, which I got started March of 2018, when I first really realized the power of that. And that's when, up to this point, I'd been blogging and I'd been on every other social media channel since about mid 2000s. So a lot of people ask me like, oh, how did you become a content creator? I was like, I've been writing blog posts and content and basically LinkedIn articles off of LinkedIn for, at that point, I don't know, what is that? Over 10 years. Yeah.
So because 2004 is when it was founded, I believe, LinkedIn.
Yeah, so it was definitely a while that I had been blogging and had viral blog posts back in 2005, 2006. So
that's amazing. So tell everybody, what do you do now? Like for those that are, wanting to up their game, what do you do? How do you kind of walk us through the process? I mean, I know personally because I'm a client.
A one-on-one client. So we went, and this is what I call it now, is called LinkedIn Business Accelerator, because I really do try to focus in on what you can do to show up in a certain way on LinkedIn and be top of mind, be recognizable, have your content be seen and heard. A lot of people are making content and they're getting 1 or 2 likes and comments, and they're feeling frustrated because it takes a lot of effort to make content. It takes a lot of effort to make content, whether it's seen, or it takes a lot of effort to make content if it isn't seen. So it's the same amount of effort. You want each time for it to get seen,
Right.
because the moment you get seen, you get more people to click on your profile, more people to recognize who you are, more credibility in your field as a thought leader, more awareness. If people don't even know that you exist, how can they even work with you? So
it's so true. And so you do one-on-one, but you also do
a group coaching,
a group coaching. And so, like, here we are in these unprecedented, crazy times. How many times can we say that in a week?
Unprecedented.
Yeah, I mean, that should be a buzzword bingo. It's not a buzzword. It's a serious issue.
It is.
Yes, and I don't mean to poke fun of it. Just my sarcastic, weird sense of humor. But in these different times, people are being laid off. People, they don't know where their next paycheck is coming from, and people aren't hiring, or their hiring freezes and offers have been rescinded, and all this bad news. But to me, I'm like, now's the time to persevere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as the content specialist, for in multiple platforms, whether you post something on Instagram or Facebook or obviously LinkedIn, what are some of the tips that you can give your or our audience, live or on the replay, to just get started?
So a lot of people think of LinkedIn and they want to get started on LinkedIn, and they're, like you said, they've been through a layoff, or they've been through really tough times right now, and the fear and the uncertainty is really, really high in their brain. So I tell people right now, if you can focus on writing good comments, because you need to get your feet back under you to have a voice on your post that doesn't sound either frantic or stressed out or desperate. Yeah. And yes, we know that these are extremely desperate times, but to be a leader, we really want our leaders. And I'm pretty sure anyone watching this crisis unfold and everything that's happening, I can tell you are paying attention to who is showing up as leaders, whether you realize it or not. You're gravitating towards watching or consuming 1 or 2 voices more than other ones. And I would ask yourself, whoever's voices you're consuming in this topic, in this area, pay attention to how they're leading. Ask yourself, what is drawing you to them? Maybe they're calm, cool, and collected. Maybe they're concise. Maybe they're offering both things, saying, yes, this is happening, and being very truthful about it, but also at the same time honoring the hope and the goals that we're headed towards, while being realistic. Holding both things at the exact same time is very powerful as a leader, and giving that to people who are following you and they're consuming your content. So if you want to show up on LinkedIn as a leader yourself, try to first pay attention to what you're drawn to. And then second, you want to show up in a way that supports their content, so you can start kind of engaging in their audience, engaging in their content. Because if you are consuming, say, Michael's posts are really inspiring you, and you like how he's showing up as a leader, the more you engage in his content, the more you give him likes and comments, the more his community will be leveraged to see your content when you post, when you start making, and they'll more likely like it because you're leaning into somebody you already like, and you like their tone, you like their voice. Does that make sense?
I think it makes incredible sense. And a lot of people, I think, put pressure on themselves. Oh, well, to create content immediately is to put out a video or to blog, and you have to do it every day. And one of the things that you taught me was you're to be present, but even if, and you made that point, this reference earlier, is that if you just engage and you comment and you share and you like, that's a good way to kind of get into practice. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, definitely. And especially because Some people are trying to get the attention of certain people. Like, for example, you might want somebody on your show if you have a live stream show, or you want somebody to come to, watch yours or consume something on Facebook, or, all the different places we can be social online. And what I tell people is, and I love the term, and Richard Moore also uses this term, which is earn the right to ask. So we kind of have to, depending on how maybe busy that person is or whatever is happening in their life, we kind of have to hang out with them for a while. Sometimes we have to just be in their comments and be a super fan for a while before they can pay attention or respond or reciprocate. It's called that law of reciprocity, where you are creating reciprocal energy for somebody else to say, whoa, that person has been liking and commenting. They truly appreciate the value I'm delivering and the energy and effort I'm putting into my content. Yes, I will say, maybe it's yes to, I will just reply back and forth in the direct messages. Maybe it's a yes to getting on a phone call. Maybe it's just now they start coming over and checking out your content. We have high intentions, low expectations. We should always be putting out a good high intention. Same thing with job seeking. Same thing with recruiting. You want to always have good high intentions that it could close, that it could be the right fit, but low expectations, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know if that person's going to get another offer, if that person's in demand. You have to have this high intention, low expectation. So.
Yeah. So, I'm sure that there are some, I know of one job seeker out there. Shout out to my friend Angelica Taylor, and she was recently laid off from ZipRecruiter, which is going through a pretty big cycle of layoffs and furloughs and things of that nature. And she had reached out to me this morning, and would you do me a favor and just kind of talk to her for a minute and tell her, because she was one of the people that said, hey, so tell me about content. I want to start putting content on LinkedIn. What do I do? So for all job seekers, including Angelica, what are some of the things, what are good ways to get started? Because yes, you want to stand out above the rest. You want to come off as the subject matter expert, and her area of focus is in marketing, and she's very good at it. And so if anybody needs a good marketing person, Angelica's the person. But what would you say what advice would you give to Angelica and the other job seekers that might be listening to this if they want to get started on this, but they've been working so they never had time, and now all of a sudden they're looking for a job and they've got to jump in?
Exactly. If you've been working up to this point, so you haven't really had your LinkedIn profile be very active, the very first thing I tell people is just start getting active, like I've been saying, in the comments. So go over to Michael's last 2 to 3 posts and give them likes and thoughtful comments, not just great post, but actually spend some time making sure you answered his question or engaged with his comment. And then the other thing I like to tell people is, as you are doing that, pay attention to who you like, pay attention to whose voice you see getting traction, and try to ask yourself. So being an engineer myself, I reverse engineer people's content all the time to try to figure out, why did that work? Why did it not work? And what
Believe me, I'm a victim of that. You're very good at that.
And what I tell people that are just getting started, number one, it's going to be action over perfection. You need to just take action. And that is what is so great about you and so great about other clients. I know Anna Morgan is just taking action like nobody's business, and she's one of my amazing clients. So many of my other clients, Stephanie, Steve's, and I'm trying to think, Dee Hutchinson, Tabitha. She's not a client, but she's an amazing colleague. And yeah, I feel like the thing that I notice is there are certain patterns to LinkedIn. And if you pay attention to what is getting traction, say you look at somebody's post and you see they're getting 50 likes and comments, try to see what they're doing to ask yourself, okay, can I repeat this pattern myself? And then if you don't think you can repeat it, or you keep trying and you want to fast forward, come join my group.
No kidding. And I would strongly encourage you all. Now, do you you know, do you think that when these patterns are created, that the platform picks up on those patterns? So if I'm posting pictures, right? So you and I had found out through months of research that what was it? Multiple pictures, at least five to
Yeah.
seven pictures. Doing a graphic as a picture was doing great. The videos, they were doing okay. They weren't knocking it out of the park like some folks do, just because
But
I'm
we
more
determined that a video of you speaking on stage is very powerful, and a video
correct.
of you in movement. We
Right,
do
like
appreciate
this.
movement that catches our eye. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I think that the pattern for the patterns. How do you know when, like, how long does it take to establish those patterns? And does the platform like LinkedIn or even Facebook or Instagram, do they pick up on the fact that, hey, this guy posted pictures last time, he had 5,000 views, so we're really going to put this out to a lot more people than when he did his video? Does that
Mhm.
does that have, is there any factors into that?
Um, so a couple of things I'll point out is the human brain just naturally feels safe when we have certain rhythms or patterns. And so a lot of people talk about being consistent content creator, but what it really is how you kind of consistently show up. And there's maybe more patterns throughout. I don't know, there's patterns to blogging, there's patterns to Twitter, there's patterns to YouTube. Now, can you go outside of the bell curve and create without being within this kind of like what the platform expects to see? Um, yes, number one, yes. And that's important to kind of push your envelope. But I have to say, what people maybe don't realize is there's just safety and certainty in seeing it done a certain way. And whether people recognize it or not, I've realized there are people who are just natural pattern, whether they can tell you they're repeating a pattern or not. I think they naturally pick up on it and they start doing it, whether they understand that they're doing it, if that makes sense. They're maybe modeling after success. They're seeing
Mm-hmm.
somebody else's successful post and they're asking, okay, well, they did it this way and they wrote it this way. And they kind of a little bit of copy of emulating somebody else. Maybe they don't copy word for word, although I have seen that. Which is not, no, nobody should ever do that. But I definitely can see patterns, and some people's brains are just built that way. And then I feel like you asked something else, and now I can't remember what you asked, or you were
Does
trying to break it down.
does the platform try to pick up on that, and will it adjust its algorithms based on what you're posting in terms of pictures, video, that kind of stuff, to where people may see more because it proved successful in previous posts in terms
So
of
I think
views, or is it just about the content and just how quickly it swells?
I think there, and I think I break it down in what I give you is the breakdown of each type of post and how really the pattern is to optimize that individual piece of post. So, say for example, we just break down video or we break down live video, and
Mm-hmm.
I made a point that live video does much better, especially when you were speaking on stage and doing a live video stream of you being on stage, which is really powerful. But I really liked that there was a cut in the first minute where you showed the audience and then you showed the stage and then you made it dynamic. So sometimes with live video, even just popping on a guest in the first minute really, really helps, and not having a blank screen or too long of a hold screen. So, I mean, we can break down each type of post for why that pattern works, but getting somebody's attention, having some type of image change in that first 3 to 10 seconds, up to a minute, sometimes you can get away with. And then that same thing with LinkedIn, we are so drawn to seeing you. It's your content, it's your show, it's the Michael show. So a lot of people forget that when they're creating content, a lot of times it's way more powerful if we see your face over and over and over and over again. And so I remind people that yes, I've tested out putting other content and not necessarily having my face, but we want to see that your content is yours. So Each type of
You
piece
have
of
to own
content
it.
is so unique, but each type of content has its own pattern. I don't know if that is helping anybody.
No. Well, I think, well, and I mean, it took me a while to kind of figure it out too. I mean, because I mean, you recall some conversations we had where I'm like, why didn't this do well? And you
Yeah.
perfectly were able to provide that advice, and we'd fix it up so that when I did a similar post the next time, it actually did do better. And so that
And
to
you
me
can
is,
copy and paste your content all the time. I want to tell people, if a post doesn't do well, you get to post it, and then you get to decide again how you want to post it a second or third time. It's never
right,
one shot. Now, don't post them back to back to back, because that would be
right,
awkward.
right.
But give it a month and sit on it and see if you can reframe it, because that thought, if you had it, there's somebody that's going to resonate with it. And if it didn't get any likes and comments, there might have been something that needed to be tweaked. So,
Absolutely. So we do have a question from Angelica
hi,
Taylor.
Angelica.
Hi, Angelica. So, thoughts on multimedia and how to mix up the types of content you're sharing? And I think you just
Yeah.
talked about that, but any other further comments to that?
Yeah. I mean, so Angelica, some of the powerful pieces of content come down to testing and figuring out which ones you show up the best. And for example, Michael, he does great on first of all, it's great to have a consistent live show like he has, which is awesome. Number two, we've learned the slide shares can do really extremely well for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they do well for everybody, to be honest. I think because LinkedIn invested a lot into the SlideShare software and program, they want those to do well as a result. And they also just look really nice from a user perspective on laptop and on mobile. So the SlideShare document feature. And then
Definitely.
and
Go
then
ahead.
the video, if you can make it a little like, I tell people, don't push yourself to get on video right away. A lot of people will, right? But I think it's nice to show up confident or nice and be feeling like, oh, yeah, my voice and what I'm about to say is ready, or you've tested it out. I tell people to test on Instagram stories if they want to get a little comfort on video that'll disappear after 24 hours. But yet you're still getting a chance to get on video. So for somebody who's maybe new to video, I'm not talking forever, maybe like a week, just make consistent video Instagram stories really quick. Maybe one
30
tip, one
seconds.
piece of value. Yes. And that will help you with LinkedIn video. Hands down, it helped me a ton.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think for the job seekers out there, I think one of the things that I would recommend is share your journey as a job seeker. Hey, this is day one. Like, almost do a video diary, and people will start tuning into you, especially like on Instagram stories or Facebook stories. Absolutely. I think LinkedIn, they may get tired of it. The platform may get tired of that after a while. But I think with Instagram and Facebook, because it's more personal, wouldn't you agree that that would be like a really good story and journey to share? Even though it goes away, you have a good story to tell about
I
what
think
you did
because
today.
LinkedIn, I tell people, okay, so breaking it down to the times that we're in right now,
Mhm.
our ability to consume content and our brains are really struggling with a lot of uncertainty and information that we're processing right now. And I think I always tell you, people are deleting, distorting, and generalizing information they come across online. So they're doing those three things. Maybe they're doing all three things at the same time. So
Mhm.
even now, it's even more important that we break down our content into the most simplest, easiest communication steps. So if you can give people 1, 2, 3 kind of breakdowns, bullet points, something easy for them to consume. So if you're going to be creating content really, really niche down in your journey, you can share 20 pieces of content for your journey. You don't have to make your journey happen in one post. You could break
Right.
down the journey of realizing that having a great boss makes all the difference. Or you could break down the journey of what the follow-up after one of your interviews that you got the job, what that was like, and what you did in the follow-up. There's a million pieces of the interview process you could break down. And that's what I tell people. Break it down to micro. Don't interview is a big topic. So if you break it down to just showing up for the interview, what do you have on hand when you show up for the interview? What do you physically have with you? Do you print out a copy of your resume? I mean, that seems micro for some people, but
it's basic stuff that they need
but
to
if
know.
you share your journey for what you're doing, if we understand what you're doing this week, I mean, I've been on unemployment and I have had to submit that I search for X number of jobs per week to be able to get my unemployment check. And this is a really relevant conversation for people right now. And the way that I did that was actually not applying for jobs through websites. I would reach out to all my past colleagues, all my connections, everyone I knew, and I had a crafted email that I would send and a message that basically said, I am job searching. I know that times are tight right now. You may not know of a job. You may know of a job in the future. Just keep me in mind. And I would appreciate being able to use your company and your name as a contact information for job seeking this week and get their permission. And if they say yes, I enter them into my spreadsheet. I enter them into my job search activity that I did for that day. And then I just went down my list over and over and over and over again, and I got a job. So
that's awesome. That's
it
awesome.
Probably took over 100, maybe 200 messages like that.
And I think the more you, and Treon Kranz said, 1, 2, 3, love it. So she appreciates that. I think it is. It's about keeping it super simple. And just, it's almost like it's just like, think about it, the way you come out on camera or in your post, it should be like you're having a conversation, not like you're talking at them. I know that when I first got started with the before after Judi Fox training, it was, even Fanny Dunnigan would say, hey, when you talk, you just look stiff and it's just not comfortable. But when you have this interaction where you and I are talking, and I know we did for one of our last sessions, we pre-recorded where you were kind of asking me questions. I was off camera, or I was on camera, you were off camera, and it was more of this conversation. I'm going to take that and I'm going to create content out of that. So I'm going to take probably an hour's worth of good question asking that you posed to me and then put it out there. And I think what's important, also to hit on is the importance of having copy when you're posting video, and then also the tagging and the hashtags. Can you talk about that and give some hints to everybody about how to do that?
Yeah. So the first time I heard the word copy, I was thinking there's copy machines, like copy. Even myself, I mean, I've been writing blog posts, but for some reason people were like, it's copy.
You're a chemical engineer. How should you know that? It's okay.
Exactly. I study patterns. I study molecular behavior of things you can't see. And so I think that's very interesting that my brain is always trying to process the unseen, if that makes sense. And I'm I don't know, a formula kind of person. I like formulas because it is a pattern. So what I'll say about copy is that a lot of people will make their video and they will want people so badly to watch this video. And I completely understand. I want people to watch the video too. But some people don't consume that way. Some people really like only reading. And some people want the captions. Some people want certain things. But if you're going to at least capture two types of learners, two types of brain processing people, make what you say in the video, you put in the written type of content above in the text post. So break down what you're saying in the video so nobody has to watch your video. If they want to get the value, it's actually in the written part too. And that way you're actually not forcing anybody to consume. And a lot of people who don't consume by video, they'll just scroll right past. But if they see that you always provide the text copy and they happen to be a text consumer and that's how they like to learn, you're going to hit both groups of people. And it's going to be more views, more engagement, and just more because you'll hit more people. And then the second part you asked is about the hashtags, right?
Hashtags and tagging people.
Okay, I'll do hashtags
People don't do that.
Yeah, so number one, I'll do hashtags first. So to me, there's two types of hashtags. And the first one is just your personal hashtag, which is a way for you to just have a file folder and people can kind of talk about you. You could tag this video, Michael, and say hashtag Fox Rocks. And it's a way for those people who follow that hashtag to truly just see your content and what you're putting out into the world. So there's that and it's not critical to have a personal hashtag. It's just nice. It's one of those, it's like, all it is putting like on a manila folder, it's got all of your videos and your posts underneath this hashtag if you consistently use it in your posts. The next thing is, and it's good for branding, the next thing is the community hashtag. So if you use hashtag LinkedIn Live, hashtag video, I think hashtag video is maybe up to 10,000 followers right now. I'm not sure, but it's close. I know that even hashtag, I don't know, like hashtag networking, hashtag job seeking, hashtag recruiter, all of these hashtags, you just type them in the top, you check out how many people are following them, and use maybe 3 to 4 at the bottom. And that will get your content seen by people who don't know who you are. And you may become more aware to somebody who's following that hashtag. So if 10,000 people are following that hashtag and you have 1,000 followers, you're definitely going to reach people that don't know who you are, and you're going to get more exposure to more people.
And it's okay to ask people to follow your personal hashtag, isn't it?
Yes. It's a great way to say, basically, if you like this content, follow this hashtag. I know that there's a LinkedIn editor, Andrew, and he just started the hashtag Get Hired specifically for college age students who are starting to look for jobs and they're entering into this market. And he really wants to engage conversation underneath that hashtag. And the power of using or consuming that hashtag, following that hashtag, engaging on that hashtag, is you may get the attention of Andrew, who is a LinkedIn editor. And so getting the attention of a LinkedIn editor, eventually I've had this happen where they get reshared by a LinkedIn editor because they want valuable content on the platform. So lean into having the conversations with the people who are the thought leaders in that space. And LinkedIn wants this content on the platform. They want your journey. They're like, give it to us. Tell us how you are doing, because you have no idea how many people you could inspire as a college student, as even somebody with 1 to 10 years experience, somebody with 10 to 20 years experience, somebody with 30 plus years experience. We each need these categories filled to understand how they're going about their job search.
Absolutely. So under Get Hired, the hashtag Get Hired. So, and just for those of you that are wondering, well, how do I tell what the hashtags are and what the number of followers to it is? If you just go to next to the LinkedIn icon in the upper left-hand side, middle left, you're just going to type in the hashtag. So shift 3, and then type in a hashtag. So like hashtags like business, strategy, leadership development, they have millions of followers. But you can even Google top hashtags on LinkedIn, top hashtags on Facebook, top hashtags on Instagram.
Underneath on the home page on your desktop, you can go scroll down to discover more all the way on the left. Yep. It'll open up a huge page of all hashtags. Huge page.
Yes, I would share my screen and show everybody, but I'm just afraid that would just drop us off from the call. So, but
if anyone needs that, I just take a screenshot and I show people and I make a post, because it's.
Well, you can add it to the comments after the broadcast. You can add it to the comments.
I can do that.
So.
I will be in the comments after this live. I will check out what everyone's saying. So if you have any more questions, or we don't get to them right now, or you want to send me a DM, direct message, you're more than welcome.
Yeah. So Crystal Velasquez, who is a TAP counselor, that's for transitioning military folks. She's with the U.S. Army. So hello, Chris, and thanks for doing this. So she was commenting back when we were talking about putting copy and adding that with the video. She goes, 100%, I prefer a shorthand transcript to read first. That's how I determine if I want to watch the video. And I do that. I don't. So I think what you're saying is create the copy, make sure it's related to the video. It doesn't have to be verbatim of everything you said, because then people aren't going to watch the video. They'll stop watching it if it's the exact same transcript. But if you give just short captions to gain interest, right? Yeah. Right.
Well, and especially if it's a longer video, you can't put in words every word you said, but we have to understand the general gist. So
exactly. So, we've got about 5 minutes left here. So, what would you say to those folks that are scared to jump on and start creating copy and content and video or whatever they want to put out there on platforms? What would you advise them, especially now?
I think two things. Number one, if people are not feeling like themselves right now, that makes a lot of sense. And I see a lot of pressure to do it just feels like there's a lot of encouragement. I wouldn't maybe even say pressure. There's a lot of encouragement. Put yourself out there. Do this, do this, do this, get ahead. And it has a little bit of a frantic energy to some of it, not all of it, but some of it does. And so I've actually really been benefiting watching a few people kind of sit back, not be so vocal. Maybe they've been posting a couple things here and there. Like even myself, I've been kind of very calm about it because I don't want to add to a frenzy of what do you need to do right this second? Because honestly, if you need to relax and go for a walk and get your mental space, I've been through a layoff. I had to mourn the loss of my colleagues and mourn the loss of the routine that I was in and go through the stages of grief of having everything that I thought was going to be my future completely changed. And I think we're all facing that. The thought of what we had all planned for every single human on this planet, it feels like every single human on this planet, it's so collective that we've all literally had our lives changed and impacted in some way or another, every single one of us. So I think feeling of, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead, finish.
I just think that feeling that it's okay to take a pause. Maybe don't pause forever. Maybe get some, and don't try to do all the things and don't do all the self-care. Try to pick one thing. If you can do one thing, if that thing is a walk every day that you start adding into your life. To be honest, the things that I leaned into when I first lost my job in 2008, I just picked up books and started reading, and I started going for walks. It was walks and reading for me as my mental breaks from thinking about what do I need to do? What do I need to do next? How do I show up? And, back then I didn't create any content. What it really was about to find another job was showing up online, looking on LinkedIn, seeing who was active, seeing a Michael Goldberg was active. And honestly, all of my networking went down in the direct messages, every single bit of it. So I tell people, you don't have to become a content creator during this time. You can become a supporter. You can become a encourager. You can find a way to connect other people in the direct messages. Maybe you can become a peer to other people going through what you're going through at your same level. That all lost their jobs with you from your company, and just say, like, anyone want to get together to just spend time together? We need each other right now. You could be a connector. I just don't know what your strengths are, but you should just lean into your strengths. I tell people about Strength Finders all the time, because right now is a time to lean into some of your strengths, and because those will come natural to you. Your strengths will come natural to you right now. So if you're trying to do something too new right now that's outside of how you naturally learn, yes, it's a great book.
Read this book, and
I leaned hard into that book.
What's your top skill?
So my top strengths are learner, achiever, focus, command, and relatable.
Yeah, I'm a relator. Is that a shocker or what?
That we related to each other.
But I mean, and I'm a connector too. So, some of the things that I've leaned in, to your point, Strength finders, if you're trying to figure out what is my next move, but to me, when I look at this book, it's not just about what I can do to discover myself, but to me, I would use that as I want to go work for my next organization that has those qualities about it, that's open to relators and connectors and commanders, and there's like 100 skills or something like that. It's crazy.
If you understand yourself during this time, if you dig in there and do some inner work right now, I have to say it was not easy doing that inner work in 2008. I discovered that I had really wrapped myself up in my job. I had maybe made assumptions and shown up a certain way that I wasn't as, like, I looked back on and I was like, what was I doing there? Like, a lot of it was just thinking that you can control things that honestly aren't within your control. So I had to relearn some patterns in my mindset and my behaviors. But all that work that you do is actually super powerful, because how you show up in front of a recruiter, how you show up at an interview is truly going to make all the difference right now. Literally will make everything. And you may have all the right education, but at right now, people are going to look for enthusiasm, energy, your ability to know yourself and be grounded. And they don't want somebody that's desperate, to be honest.
Absolutely. And Trey, if I'm mispronouncing your name, is it Treon? I don't. Krantz, she goes, yes, take care of yourself, be kind, give grace, take a pause, and we're all in this together. Ask for help. Love Strength Finders, and then she tagged Ginger Reed, and even one of our Angelica had said, "Tell me the name of the book again." It's Strength Finders by Tom Rath.
Yeah.
And now,
and
if
there's
you do
a free one online. If you just
Yeah.
Google Strength Finders, yes, you have to pay for the book if you do the official one, but there's also kind of an unofficial one that it's just as good at this point. If you don't have the funds, just go Google free Strength Finders test and you will find something.
Yeah, if anybody's got a link that they want to share and they're a member of Strength Finders, feel free to share it.
I have a link.
I'll see if I've got it. Yeah. So you know, I think that your points are so spot on. We have this ability to be great content creators because we all have a story to tell and what we bring to the table. But I love your advice about, if you're just not in your head's just not in the game right now, that's all right. Don't feel the pressure, because right now what I'm seeing on the platform is a lot of repetitive information, and everybody's now a COVID-19 expert, which kind of drives me insane. One of the things that I like to do is I'm a relator, and a connector. So I'm bringing in people. We're having our virtual happy hour tomorrow.
You had a lot of people at the last one, and you made a great post about it.
Yes, in pictures. And I sent you an email and a calendar invite, Judi. So I hope you can attend.
Thank you.
We're gonna add a speaker tomorrow, Jason Seiden, who's going to be talking about getting through adversity by building trust. And so he and I are going to be riffing about that topic. And it's just fun. You can bring drinks, you can bring food, you can bring your pets. Speaking of, bring your cute puppy in. Where's the?
Oh, yeah, my puppy's outside right now.
What's your puppy name again? Skelter?
Kelter.
Kelter. Like Helter's Kelter, not Skelter.
Kelter.
Helter Skelter. Helter Kelter. There's just this cute little collie lab mix. Is that what it is?
He's a Sheltie, like a collie. Yeah, like a mini collie.
Very nice. So, well, he is very cute. Well, Judi, we've kind of hit the 45-minute limit for this. And is there anything else you want to tell people, and any messages of encouragement, how to reach you if they want to engage you and get some help in building their content creation?
Yeah, so if you go to my website, judifox.com, I actually have one-page sheets of downloads of some of the 8 tips I have for engagement and etiquette. I have a above the fold, the top things I think you need to do on LinkedIn. It's not an exhaustive list. It's maybe about 5 to 6 things that if you do these 5 to 6 things well, your LinkedIn profile will be amazing. And they are down in I make you scroll past all of my amazing LinkedIn Business Accelerator. So you can learn as you scroll and you can see the
But please
results.
buy. Please click the link to buy if you're on the
Yes.
web.
Well, the link is actually to apply. I really want to make sure that every person that
Good
joins in
fit.
the group is a good fit